If you're just joining us,
breaking news.
Nice job, Goof.
Mike Dunleavy likely to be the next general manager of the Golden State Warriors. Going to take the job if the money's right, and that's that. Mike Dunleavy. Now, Mike's done a lot of scouting the last 4 years since he's been with the Warriors. Keep in mind, Mike Dunleavy was hired in 2019 after the Warriors lost to the Toronto Raptors in the finals.
All right.
And one of the reasons he was hired was because at that time, Bob Myers was thinking about possibly moving on. And my understanding of the way it went down is after the 2019 season where they lost to the Raptors, Bob was feeling kind of burned out and stressed out after that. And there was a death in his family also that hit close to home. And Bob's brother-in-law said, it's not a good look if you would leave right now after we lost it. And
that meant something to him.
And Bob said, I appreciate that, but I think I need a little help. And that's when they hired Mike Dunleavy because, remember, they had Jerry West and Travis Schlenk was there. And so one of the reasons, and this is what I've heard, is they hired Mike Dunleavy in 2019 to alleviate some of Bob's workload. And now 4 years later, he's likely to take over the job. Mike Dunleavy.
I'm not mad, but let me read this to you from the 707. One of the most hated Warrior players of all time taking over the most important jobs in the franchise is hilarious. I mean, that's that person's opinion, but how many people do you think feel that way? Because all that matters is Joe Lacob, and he don't give a rat's behind because he didn't play for him. So I almost got to tip my cap to Lacob. If you are right, and it is Dunleavy, that means nothing. And those people are foreign. But like you said, Steiny, those are the older people probably not even on social media screaming from rooftops.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people remember, how many.
Does it matter?
Yes, Jordan, it does. It does matter.
Jordan was the greatest player, and he was the worst owner in the world.
Right. But I think it does matter if a guy comes in with a preconceived notion. And and I told Willard this yesterday because remember we talked about it a week or two ago, and I brought it up. I'm like, man, there's a lot of acrimony between Dunleavy and the fans. But over time, I do think it's not that big a deal. I'm thinking it's less and less of a deal because, Mike Dunleavy wasn't well liked as a player. So what?
Right.
He drafts somebody at 19 who's playing 22 minutes a night and looks good. Nobody's going to care about that. And if Mike puts in the work and Warrior fans start seeing some fruits of his labor, then nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to care that
and what if they win?
He couldn't stand playing for Eric Musselman.
Now, I do wonder, though, would he be the poster child? And nobody in Dub Nation wants this, Steiny. But if this ship were to go down the wrong road, and let's say a first-round exit, a couple years in a row, then I wonder if he would be target practice then. Like, you're the reason instead of age and attrition from the players.
Oh, well, a lot of fans are never going to blame the big three no matter what. But that's why I'm interested. That's why I do believe the more I think about it, this makes the most sense. They were not going to bring somebody in from another organization, the more I think about it. Who would that have even been?
And I wonder would that be more expensive than having your boy in-house?
If the guy was proven.
Yeah.
I would think so. I had that poster, Ernie Chavez, with birds sitting on top of the basket in a bird's nest.
Classic. Yeah. Did you have the George Gervin one where he's on the ice cubes?
Yeah, all those were great.
You didn't have a Julius Erving, though?
No.
Why do you say it like that?
Because I only got great players.
But no women.
No, I'm 9 years old.
Were you not allowed to have it? Like, Norm was okay. Norm didn't trip. And whoever said that, and I'm reading this from the text line, the beauty skin deep, it was ugly. You know what we're talking about. There's some lookers, and then there's some non-lookers.
And then there's onlookers.
You better be careful.
Let me give you one.
You better be careful.
I got my answer ready. What would I do?
Hold on. Moose in San Jose.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, just hold the thought. Just hold that thought. Hey, Moose.
Moose.
Good afternoon, fellas. Beautiful Friday. You guys had a great show so far, and we'll continue to throughout the rest of the day. I wanted to I think this is a lame argument, this whole, Dunleavy can't be fit for the job because he wasn't a good player. He's not sitting in the locker room saying, I'm going to play bad tonight. He tried hard for the team. He didn't end up panning out for us. It is what it is. But one point I wanted to make in this whole thing is, and I'm not going to pretend like I know Dunleavy personally or how he would react to all this, but I look at Joe Lacob when he got laughed off the court. I think it was during Mullins' retirement night. It was.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
What are you doing? That whole thing. And I think that night motivated the hell out of Lacob to try harder to be. Obviously everybody wants to win as an owner, and you're gonna work your ass off to do it. But I think in a way that motivated him. I think today the people saying, hey, and to somewhat you, Steiny, not that he has a bone to pick with you, but you saying, hey, excuse me, it wasn't you, it was Willard saying, what's he doing up there saying those kind of things during Bob's exit presser, saying, well, we're going to continue to win. I think he looks at naysayers, people saying, hey, you know what, Joe, it's not going to be as easy as you think. And he takes that as motivation. I think Dunleavy takes that as motivation. Again, not going to pretend like I know his personality, but
right.
he looks at all the fans that says, this guy can't take the job because he wasn't a good player for us, and says, oh yeah, well, watch me work my ass off to be a good GM for you guys. And I think that's more motivation to him to succeed. If he doesn't succeed, it is what it is, right? We all it's a tough job, but if he does, it's more gratifying. And I think that's the route that I think that's the type of people that Lacob's hired, and you can kind of see that just based on how the success they've had.
I think you're right about what motivates Joe Lacob is he likes
challenges.
Well, and he also likes thinking outside the box and then getting rewarded for it, and he's done that with every coach he had here. He
did that with Wiseman.
Well, he did. So sometimes you swing big and you miss. But listen, Mark Jackson hadn't coached at all, and he came in here and won. And I'm not a Mark Jackson fan, but the fact that Joe Lacob hired Mark Jackson without any coaching experience shows that he's willing to take a gamble. And then firing Mark Jackson, who had no coaching experience, and hiring a guy who had no coaching experience to take him to the next level, that's crazy if you think about it, but that's what he did.
And the best decision Steve Kerr could have ever made, picking the Warriors over the Knicks, Donnie. Man.
707, looks like I'm going to break two pieces of news.
Go ahead.
707 says, hey, a dark horse GM candidate, Travis Schlenk, he's being pushed out of Atlanta. He's been pushed out of Atlanta. Yeah, he took a job in Washington.
Man.
As their executive vice president of player personnel.
And who will he report to? The guy that
he will report to whoever they hire as GM. They have a president now named Michael Winger, who was hired from the LA Clippers. He's now running, I believe it's called Monument Sports, which includes the Washington Mystics. So this guy, Michael Winger, heads up the Wizards and the Mystics, and I think maybe even their stadium. So they still have to hire a GM.
Bob Myers, our guy.
Yeah.
I'm setting it at 3 years. If he were to take a TV gig or do anything other than be a dad, would you be shocked?
No, I think he'll be a GM in a year.
Wow. Yeah, then what we saw up there that's not being talked about, this whisper, or just how demanding Joe Lacob is, had something to do with his decision.
Yeah, good point by the 510. The owner also hired Bob Myers, who didn't have any experience.
And he said it. Joe, got to give Joe credit for that.